course, very beautiful. I've just been joined by Chris Bonington. Chris, lovely girl, great climber.
In every way, yes, lovely to look at, and she's moving up it incredibly smoothly and easily, isn't she, compared to a lot of the others?
She looks so light and feather light, her movements with great precision. Well, this is the first really difficult bit, getting over this overhang. And I'm saying really difficult, but I mean all of it is really at an incredibly high standard, and what looks easy is really the level even you're climbing at would be still considered extremely hard.
Well, it certainly is. The level I climb at is actually about 10 grades below that. I mean, the frightening thing is, even when one was climbing at one's very best, and I suppose was, what, amongst the top climbers of the country 12 years ago, it was just so much...
Look how easy she made that look. None of this skating and... Oh, gosh, gone. Oh, well, that is a surprise. That foothold is extremely slippery. She'll be distraught with that.
Well, that puts Isabel Patizia into second place, but there are still some very good climbers to come. Luisa Giovanni of Italy, currently ranked 4th in the world with 36 points. She's probably Italy's best competition climber, with a second place at Grenoble and 13th at Bercy.
Restful position there. Chris, do you hang around in positions like that, resting away?
Well, yesterday I was resting on a runner, but I had a friendly second who was pulling the rope as tight as he possibly could.
I'm afraid... Oh, no!
And there...
She's gone.
What a...
Oh, dear. That is a tragedy. One little slip. That's the whole thing about this sport, that one tiny error, one tiny slip, and you're out.
A very disappointing result for Luisa Giovanni. But now let's look at how the rest of the women competitors did. No one came anywhere near Robin Ebersfield 8 meters 72. She really showed the French climbers how to do it. Jim Curran spoke to her after the climb.
Robin, many congratulations being the first woman winner of the British Open. Can you talk us, can you remember in the intensity of the experience what it was like powering up over that second overhang where so many people...
It was encouraging, because when I got to the holds that were the ones that I needed, I had enough reserve to pull through those cruxes, and the crowd was helpful. They were behind me, so I felt that. And I was also encouraged because I could feel from them that I was doing perhaps as well as others, if not better. So that was encouraging.
But were you surprised that some of the more obvious favourites fell really rather quickly?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed to see Isabel and Luisa. They didn't get to their capacity. That happens in competition.
But also really rather pleased that you certainly did.
Well, I was happy for my performance, but not so happy that they didn't get to prove their level. So.
Great. So what comes next?
Go to La Riba in Spain.
Well, all the best for that, and once again, many congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Well, an exciting women's event with an excellent climb from Robin Ebersfield. In part 2, we see the men's final with 2 British hopefuls in with the top Europeans.
Big boppers, D-mark croppers, slick back fellas, kiss and tell us, going where the taste is. Guys in bins and ID twins,
all going where the taste is.
Catwalk glamour, home run slammer, drive like caster, Oxford master. It's over here and over there, that Tuborg taste is everywhere. Tuborg where the taste is.
Oh, no, it's the symptoms. This episode, a proper lemon.
There you go, love. There you go, love.
Beecham's hot lemon.
Feeling better?
Yep.
There you go, love.
That's fast, comforting Beecham's Hot Lemon. When you want to feel better, better choose Beecham's.
Here, Lamb Polly are offering up to £150 each of their summer holidays. Get away.
I suppose you use some exotic conditioner.
I don't. It's my shampoo.
Head and Shoulders?
No, it's new Head and Shoulders 2-in-1. Dandruff shampoo and conditioner.
We've combined a special conditioner with Head and Shoulders to make new 2-in-1 for dandruff-free, beautifully conditioned hair.
You don't need a separate conditioner then.
I don't.
New Head and Shoulders 2-in-1.
At the MFI sale, hundreds of great offers like 3-piece suites, plus divans up to 50% off. The MFI sale, now on.
To prove that Mr. Muscle tackles the filthiest of jobs with plenty of muscle, we gave it to someone with none. Our oven cleaner devours the greasiest ovens cold. And the kitchen cleaner, all it takes is a little squirt. Mr. Muscle loves the jobs you hate.
In the world of Whirlpool, there's a new washing machine with a gentle touch. It takes in only the water it needs, tackling a big wash with the same care as a small load, saving both time and energy. The new Whirlpool washing machine. Discover the beauty of a perfectly fresh finish. Together, Philips and Whirlpool bring quality to life.
Which of these people have sensitive teeth? They all do. As your dentist will tell you, it's a common problem. But she uses
fresh tasting Sensodyne F with fluoride. I use it every day, and it helps keep my breath fresh.
Sensodyne F's special ingredient quickly helps calm the nerves that cause pain. Now they all use fresh tasting Sensodyne F to relieve the pain of sensitive teeth.
Dolmio put not one, but 2 types of tomato in every jar, and 11 herbs and spices skillfully blended so you can put the finest spaghetti bolognese on the table and a smile on everyone's face. The Dolmio smile. Put the Dolmio smile on your face.
It's welcome back to part 2. 15 climbers have come through from yesterday's semi-finals, including continental superstars Edlinger, Globach and Robutu, being challenged by a strong British team. But first to go is Brasco Carles of Spain. He's unranked, never having great success in the European competitions. Although on home ground in Spain, he's claimed a 5th at Lever and 1st at Donosti. Well, this is Brasco Carles from Spain. He's only been climbing for 2 years, and he's only 20 years old, but he's a very, very agile guy. Of course, he's doing a route which is different to the women's route. It's been completely reset. Jim Curran, is it going to? It is a different standard altogether, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's a good grade harder. I mean, I won't complicate the issue with British climbing grades, but this is quite appreciably harder than the women's course. And of course, for the first couple of competitors, we've got to get used to the problems they're likely to surmount. This appears to be one of the first difficult bits, one of the first cruxes. You can see him just shaking out now, shaking his hand out, trying to get the blood circulation back into his fingers, and climbing on this rather peculiar formation. It's the actual logo of the wall that's incorporated into actually a set of holes.
Get a very good idea of how steep it is. It's remarkable that the men and the women both have almost identical gear on, don't they? Very simple gear, just a harness to prevent the rope from cutting into them, a chalk bag to stop their fingers from slipping, and then these very sticky rubber shoes which push them up the hill. That's about all they need. And a rope, of course, but it's in essence very little equipment needed.
No, I think for a young person taking up the sport, you know, one of the main costs is transport to the actual crags, and now, of course, if it's indoors, you possibly don't even have that. It did that very easily. It made that look very easy.
He's obviously very supple. He's able to get his legs very wide apart, and They're quite strong as well.
You can see the judges just swinging in on our left, making sure that he doesn't do anything illegal, like pull on a sling or go out of bounds. Although I think on this route there's not much danger of that. I think it's hard enough to stay on the rock at all.
This is a ferocious overhang above him. It really does look quite impossible.
It defies description. I'd be interested to see how anyone actually climbs it. It does look completely impossible to me, but we're assured that it has been done.
If he'd have hung on that for 1 second, of course, he'd have been immediately disqualified, and that's what the judges are looking for. But also, it's how high he gets, his hand is how high. A millimetre count here would make all the difference between winning and losing.
It could do, although one imagines that somebody's going to get either to the top or very close to it.
Well, of course, the ideal course-setting skill is that only one person actually makes it out of the top and everybody else is below him.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see anyone on this particular one get to the top. This is absolutely appallingly overhanging, isn't it?
This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. He has got some weight on his feet, but if his feet slip off, he's just going to come down.
Look at that. That gives a better idea. Now, what's he going to do here?
I think he's going to have to make a grab. He's hit it. That's it. Well, the outside of Brasco Carles reaches a commendable 7 metres 68. Well, whilst we're waiting for Simon Nadin of Great Britain to appear, let's look at the trade stands. All the major equipment manufacturers are here selling a full range of climbing equipment, which looks ever more like a high fashion show. Even the simple carabiner can be bought in designer colours, as opposed to match the colour of your outfit. It's also good to see a practice wall for the public to try out, though this young chap seems to find it all too easy. Maybe he's a future British champion. Simon Nadin, Great Britain. Not ranked currently, Simon is the dark horse of British climbing, and this is his first competition. Joining me is the wall's designer, Chris Gore.
Yeah, the actual wall overhangs in its 40 feet by 10 feet. So by the time you get to the top, you're very much on an overhanging situation. There is really no rest whatsoever. You see some climbers hanging there, and you think they're resting, but in fact, they're just pumping out all the time.
So although some of those look a bit less than vertical, they're actually not. Oh, he got that hole. That's nice.
Very well. He's looking good here.
Doesn't he look relaxed?
It's very good for Simon, because Simon's a very quiet character on the British scene. He doesn't really say much. He doesn't really go for the publicity like a lot of other climbers do. He just enjoys his climbing. But like any other climber, he likes to prove that he's a good climber, and I think he's done an admirable job here.
Are there hidden holes on this, or is it pretty obvious what you have to do?
It's very evident what to do. It's just very, very powerful.
That's as high as anybody's been.
He's looking good here.
He's looking very good. Look at this. The crowd are going crazy. Yes.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Really hard move, Cat, here. Really hard move. Could be quite spectacular here.
Oh,
look at that. Brilliant.
Oh, what a terrific attempt. The crowd are going absolutely mad. That was a terrific effort. Nobody's been as high as that. So well, they shouldn't be disappointed with that.
Not at all.
A great result for Simon Nadin, setting a new height, 8 metres 43. Patrick Edlinger, France, ranked 5th in the world with 30 points. He's France's most famous climber with an impressive competition record. Of the 5 competitions he's attended, he's won 4. Andy Brown has just joined me.
We're really seeing now with Patrick coming up here, one of the first of the big names go on this final. And judging by his performances in previous competitions, he won the big competition in Munich just 3 weeks ago with a very impressive piece of climbing. And he's certainly one of the coolest competitors, one of the most professional competitors, and one of the strongest as well. And it's a real treat, it's just a real treat to see the class of this sort of climbing as we build up through the final 15. Just look how smooth he's going up this. Nobody up there yet, with the exception perhaps of Simon Nadin, who one of the British most talented around of the British climbers. Nobody up there yet has looked so smooth, to my mind, going up that wall. And this may well be the first flash, as we'd say, of the route today.
The flash is doing it unseen, top to bottom, and actually completing out on the top runner.
Actually getting to the top, yeah, on site. He didn't flash the semis, no. And that's why he's coming down 6th from the end.
Well, this is a hard move. He's got to get the right position. One of the British competitors made a dyno for that. He leapt for the hold, didn't get it right, and came off. And the last one got it very nicely. It's a hard little move, is this, to get a hole hidden there just by that ridge, which he's got to climb eventually.
That's right. This he's doing now exactly how the Spanish guy did it.
Yes.
The technical way of doing it. Obviously, much better to try and do it like this in control rather than jump for it.
Yes, it is, but he can't reach it.
Not quite. Obviously, a climber of this standard doesn't want to resort to jumping for a hold until it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
Because once you jump, you're committed. And if you don't get it, then you're off. And so you leave that to the last minute.
You could see there that he's in no resting position. This wall looks vertical, but he's really got tiny footholds, and there's nothing there.
That's quite a strenuous position. He'll get it now.
No, it's not on the...
No, he's round the back of it.
Yeah, he really wants to be there.
He's going to come across. He'll get his foot up.
Oh dear, he didn't do it. I think his hand was in the wrong position on that hold.
I think also that his left hand that he was reaching across for wasn't in the right position, and that didn't give him enough reach to come across. Now that is a real upset as far as this competition goes. On climbing form, he has won 4 out of the 6 competitions he's entered, which is the best record out of any of the climbers internationally.
We just saw the marker there, marking the high point that is reached, and the judges would shine a laser on it, and it would measure by a theodolite to within a millimetre. It's very critical to know, because everybody wants to know exactly what order they finish this final in. That was the point that he reached. Not too high, and he'll be extremely disappointed. Not a good result for Patrick Edlinger. And now, Stefan Glowacz of West Germany. His world ranking is #1 with 58 points. The first to really challenge the French in these competitions. He came first in Grenoble, second in Munich, and an equal 4th in Paris.
So he's not going to want to hang around there for too long. I'm rather surprised he's being this slow.
Well, it's surprising. It is surprising how many people this has turned back.
Right, he's going to go for it direct. Ooh, can he reach it? Yes, he can reach it now.
He's got it now.
Now, there's a tall man for you. Yes. Didier Rabutu would have never been able to do the move.
He had to make an intermediate move, but it's not a brilliant hold. It is
going. Oh no, he's on.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a turn up to the book.
Good grief.
That is amazing. Well, this is a major upset. The favourite to win didn't even reach 6 metres. Didier Rabutu of France. He's ranked 3rd in the world with 36 points. He's one of the first climbers to make his living out of competitions. He's won at Bercy and at Paris.
Let's just see how he does this.
That's what he's heading for. That's the hold he's got to get, and he's got to get it in exactly the right way. One competitor lunged for it, a British competitor lunged for it. He grabbed it, but he didn't get it right, and back he fell.
That's right. Now, let's see.
Now, is he getting it right?
You see?
No, he's not. Behind it is poor, I believe.
Well, I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right, because that guy is very, very strong.
Yes, he's got the other hold above. He's through. Yes.
And now you'll see, I think, one of the finest exhibitions of strength that we'll see this afternoon as he goes up this arête, because this is really his sort of climbing. This is going to be interesting.
He may just be the first person to top out the route.
I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, but I might put a small amount. Now you see how calm he is there resting.
Yes, yes.
A couple of the other, one of the other climbers who got there didn't look. The Spanish guy who got there looked very unrelaxed. But that's the measure of the competition climber, the true professional. How good he looked there. Right, let's see how he does this. Oh, look at that. Yeah, he's up there. Look how he hooked his foot.
What power.
He's almost doing it statically.
Yes, he is.
Everybody else was swinging around with their feet. He's staying totally in control. Now, let's see how he does this next move.
This is an overhanging arete here.
This is absolute brilliance in climbing. Now, this is quite a hard move as well. He's got to see to come up with his left hand.
No.
Oh, he touched it.
Wow, that was a big swing. But he touched it.
He's got to exactly the same height as Simon Nadin at 8 meters 43. And now it's Jerry Moffatt of Great Britain. Currently ranked 4th in the world with 34 points, he's Britain's best hope, consistently getting into the top 5. Recent results include a 3rd at Paris and a 4th in Munich.
Ah. Oh. That's interesting.
Oh, no problem at all.
He didn't have any problem at all there. He must clip in. He must clip into that protection. There he does. He hasn't forgotten it. If his feet had gone above that, he'd have been disqualified. And he's powering on. Look at that, all on a couple of fingers. That really is overhanging. There's no question about that.
Jerry. Come on, Jerry. And the crowd are rising to this.
No, he's there. He's going for it. He hasn't wasted time on the way up. This is where the other people have failed. He's got a really tough move here. It's a very hard move. Yeah. Oh!
Yes,
well, that was the highest point.
Is that?
We don't know. We'll have to wait for the judges, but that will be marked as high or
So Jerry made exactly the same height as the other two. Now let's see how the rest of them did.
It's been an immensely exciting day, and it's quite incredible how fast the time's gone. And I think the thing that I've found is the way one gets involved in the climb itself. And it's not just me, it's every single member of the audience is almost there with the climber. And I found my hands were sweating, I've had that funny grip tightness in my stomach, and you're really going for that person out there, giving a display of climbing, which is absolutely incredible.
With 3 people, Rabutu, Nadin and Moffatt reaching the same height, we have a climb-off with a new route. It should prove to be a real thriller. And Simon Nadin leads them off.
It doesn't look as if he wants to hang around on this, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He's moving very fast.
No, just a few hard moves to take the shine off his fingers and the shine off his muscles. Of course, the other two are still in isolation. They've no idea what's going on. They can hear some muffled shouts from the crowd when Simon does something spectacular, but they don't really know what it means. Nice move there. There's the judge keeping an eagle eye because millimeters count here. It's the highest up. The highest person who gets up this route will win this competition. It's extremely tense. Judges watching it very carefully. Of course, it's all videoed so that any objections or complaints can be reviewed by a panel. Appeals made if anything goes wrong. Very important to these lads. Just been joined by Andy. What do you think of this super final, Andy?
It's just absolutely gripping to watch. He's done the first tricky move, getting up to the entreprise sign on the wall. The section now is going to be a little bit, I mean, still top standard climbing, but just, I think, a little bit easier. And then we get up and there's going to be a very, very difficult move, which is going to involve a big jump higher up the route, which should provide some impressive action.
Before, the route moved out of the overhangs to the right, but this time it's trending left. Follow the quick draw protection that you can just see there.
That's right. Now he's got to come over right with his right hand now for this hold you can just see in the top left of the screen.
Oh, I missed it. That's it. That will count as his high point. The little hold there. Not happy. Not happy. So Simon Nadin set the high point for Moffatt and Rabutu to go for.
This is quite a tricky little move here. He's just got to get his feet up.
Did you see the size of that hold he was holding with his left hand? It was only about 1/8 of an inch coming out. That's a beautiful move. Look at that tiny, tiny little wrinkle.
Yes, you see, he's strong enough to use a hold like that. That isn't actually a hold that that was designed by the route designers to be used. Because he's short, he occasionally does have to use these intermediate holds, and he certainly has the power to be able to do it.
But that variety is a bit more like real crag climbing, isn't it, Jim?
It certainly is, Mark. Now.
Almost every hold seems to be at absolute full stretch for him, but doesn't seem to be having a lot of problems so far.
Moving very, very smoothly, isn't he?
There's the judge looking very, very carefully at him. If he makes a fall, it slips off some of these tiny, tiny holes. It's where the point is reached with his hands that counts. It's very important.
He's standing on almost nothing.
Nothing. Oh.
Now this is the move that Simon fell. Now here you see, we've got the competition professional here. Look at very smooth, crossed over, made no mistake there. I mean, it is very hard climbing, but when he does it like that, it makes it look like even you could do it now.
Not likely, no. That's beautiful. He made that look so easy. What a champion.
Yes, now we're coming up now to the interesting move. He swaps hands, comes over, and he's going to run his feet up the wall and what we would say smear. That's right, he's crossed through correctly. He'll smear his feet on the wall on nothing positive at all. And now he's using the arrête.
Is that on the route?
Yes, it's perfectly allowed.
Yes.
I don't think the route designers quite had it planned like that. But he's going for the big jug out on the top right of the screen there. He's going to have to make a very long move for that. This is going to be very interesting to see if he can get it this way.
Jim, is that your idea of a big jug?
Mark, nothing's my idea of a big jug except the floor here. This is just fantastic.
Where is the edge of the route?
This is incredible. Oh, how can he hang on like that? Oh, he's gone.
Wow, what a fall. He was right up above his next protection at that point, so he took a really long fall then. But it looks okay. An impressive climb by Rabutu. Jerry Moffatt's really going to have to go for it.
How do you think performing in front of a home crowd, does that actually mean an advantage, or is he oblivious of that at the moment?
I think that certainly puts the pressure on a little more than performing in front of a crowd in France or in Germany. It certainly would increase the pressure. Now this move that he's coming up to, just when he gets this next hold, this is just a little tricky. If he gets past here up to the entreprise sign, then he will get, I think if he gets past the entreprise sign, then he'll certainly get to virtually the same point as Didier. And those feet on that hole, those holes are not particularly good.
Oh, that's nice.
That's good. That's good, isn't it?
Crowd urging him on there.
In Munich.
Very reassuring.
Yes, in Munich, where he took fourth place in Munich, he looked just a little bit shaky when he came out into the final in Munich, and he's looking much smoother than he did there. So let's hope that's a good sign. He has one slight advantage here. He's already felt these holes because this section was used on the final. So he knows exactly what is involved in that hold he's got now.
Yes.
And he knows exactly the move that he's going to make next up with his left hand. So that'll help him just a little bit. He sees he's already pulled the rope up into his teeth there, so he can clip it very easily.
Hopefully, if he fell off at that point, he'd remember to open his mouth. Otherwise, he'd lose a few teeth, I should think.
He certainly would, and with all that slack there pulled up on the rope, he'd also fall quite a long way down before he did lose his teeth. I'm not aware of it ever having happened in the climbing world, but
the hole in the top left-hand corner is the hole that Simon reached. And once he's got over that and made a mark higher up, he'll be in number 2 position.
So he'll just be getting himself ready. He's felt the move, he knows what he's to do. So he'll probably go through and do it now. They have a 15-minute time on the route.
Oh, so there's
virtually time is no
That's
factor.
the hole, that's the point where Simon failed. Dennis made it. Definitely in number 2 position.
I think he'll definitely have an advantage on the move where Didier came in. See, when he pulls his arm down on that hold, it's easy to think it's a good hold, but it isn't.
No,
those holes
none of them
are so
are.
small. Now he's at the move.
Now, this route has been done by the course setters, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been done. It's been tested.
That doesn't mean
Every
they did it
section
or
of it is
led it on
tested.
site like he's having to do. They may have repeated it several times, but it is possible for a human being to climb this intimidating overhang. It's almost unbelievable that anybody could get up it. Don't you think, Jim?
This is almost the fairy tale ending, isn't it? It's just hard to believe that chance has worked out quite like this.
Top climber in France, top climber in Britain, fighting it out on this one
Going
last
for it.
move. He's going to have to jump for that hold just in the top of the picture. Got the protection on now.
Now, can he compose himself? He's clipped the bolt. He's obviously still completely in control.
The position that he's in there is the sort of position he can stay in reasonably comfortably. You know, it's not as though he's, well, hopefully, it's not as though he's just going to slip off there. He will have every chance of making the move. So it'll just be he'll take his time, get himself ready. I think there's a good chance he'll have worked out that it's just a jump. But
Oh, yes, he's got it. He's got
Jerry
it.
Moffatt has
He's
won
done
the
it.
first international
Fantastic.
competition in Britain.
That's it.
But he doesn't know it. He doesn't know that
he
he's
doesn't
won.
know it, but he is the winner of the first international Grand Prix climbing competition.
As Max said, as Jim said, it's fairy tale stuff.
They're going crazy in the crowd. Oh, he might not just make it to the end. He's going to try. Look at that.
You see, he doesn't know he's won.
He doesn't know he's won. He's no idea
about it. He knows that when the crowd roar that that encourages him to go.
Look at that.
That is a tremendous
fantastic
move. Look at that.
Look, he's still powering over those overhangs.
This is just incredible. Come on, Jerry, go for it. You're nearly there, man. You're nearly there.
He's got it.
Yes, he's done it. He's done it. He's done it.
That's it. That's the end of the route.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
He's won. That's it. The champion of the first international Grand Prix climbing competition, Jerry Moffatt. What a superb achievement, and he knows it.
Well, there it is, Jerry Moffatt, outright winner in a sensational finish.
So this is the first UIAA competition this year, the first of the World Cup Series, and you've won the competition. How does that feel?
It just feels great to have done the route. really, right now, you know, because it's something I had to prove to myself. And I'm just happy that all these people were here and I managed to climb good on the day so people can see what climbing for me is all about, and hopefully it'll go out and inspire other people to, you know, go out and have fun on the crowd and try and do the same sort of thing. You know, climb to the limit, not give up and just keep going.
So a happy Jerry Moffatt celebrating with his girlfriend. And what an event this has been. The first UK International Grand Prix, and it's a Briton from Sheffield, Jerry Moffatt, who's shown us how the sport is done. And let's hope to see a lot more of Jerry. Thank you for joining us at the Queen's Hall in Leeds for what's been an exciting and quite emotional event.